All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to break down a really practical framework for shifting your life from one of just constant reaction to one of genuine inner peace. And it all starts by taking apart one of our most common and honestly most destructive habits: blame. Think about it for a second. The last time you felt really stressed out, or anxious, or just plain angry, what was your very first instinct? If you're like pretty much all of us, your mind immediately started scanning for a cause, right? It was that person's fault, or this situation, or those circumstances. It feels completely natural, but it's also the very thing that keeps us trapped. And this isn't just a small-time habit. The framework we're exploring suggests that our tendency to blame everything outside of ourselves can drive up to 90% of our reactions. Think about that. 90%. You could almost say it's the factory default setting for a mind that hasn't been trained. So let's just give this thing a name: the 90% blame pattern. And it's considered the single biggest obstacle to making any real inner progress. Why? Because it keeps our attention pointed in completely the wrong direction, always looking outward, instead of where the real work needs to happen, which is inward. This really gets to the heart of the problem. You see, as long as we truly believe that the source of our unhappiness is out there, we're essentially giving away the remote control to our own emotional state. We're handing it over to a world that we can't possibly control. And that means we never get around to doing the necessary work in here. And real, lasting change just stays out of reach. So, if the problem isn't out there, then what in the world is the solution? Well, this is where a fundamental paradigm shift has to happen. The path forward requires this radical turn inward. You have to stop analyzing the world and start studying yourself. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Trying to control every person and situation just to feel happy is an absolutely exhausting and, frankly, impossible game. Real, permanent peace can only be found when we start to understand our own inner world, our own automatic reactions, our own thought patterns. And this isn't some vague philosophy. It's a super clear 3-step approach. Step 1 is simple, but not easy. Just recognize the blame pattern when it shows up in your own life. No judgment, just notice it. Step 2 is to really let it sink in, to truly understand that the only way forward is self-study, not blaming. And finally, step 3 is to implement a daily practice to actually do that inner work. This is how you go from feeling powerless to being genuinely empowered. So you're probably asking, okay, how do I actually do this inner work? Well, the framework gives us a very specific practical tool, a kind of structured contemplation designed to help us with this self-study. It's called the Mangalacharana mantra. Now, this is not just a random list of positive affirmations. It's actually designed very strategically by focusing your mind on happiness, peace, and wholeness for everyone, for all. It acts as a direct antidote to the mind's default self-centered programming, that me channel. This practice actively cultivates a much broader, universal perspective, which naturally weakens the grip of our own personal drama. And the practice itself is incredibly simple. You just start by sitting in a stable, comfortable posture. Then you take a moment to just notice what your mind is doing, the thoughts, the feelings. The key is not to get tangled up in them. Just watch them go by. Then you repeat the mantra. Afterwards, you check in with yourself. See if a sense of calm has started to emerge. If it has, great. If not, you don't fight it. You just gently repeat the process. The goal here is gentle persistence, not some kind of forced perfection. Okay, let's be real. Anyone who's ever tried to start a new habit, especially something like meditation, knows exactly what happens next: resistance. Your mind will suddenly come up with 1,000 perfectly good reasons why you shouldn't sit today. This is not a sign that you're feeling, it's the main, totally expected obstacle. This resistance, it's simply the voice of that default mind we've been talking about. It's just a bundle of old habits that have been conditioned over a lifetime to seek what's easy and avoid anything that feels like work or discomfort. Of course it's going to fight to stay in charge. So the crucial thing isn't to be surprised by it, but to have a plan for when it shows up. So what is the strategy for dealing with this inner protest? Well, the core attitude you need is captured perfectly in this simple but incredibly powerful instruction from a master teacher. The idea is you don't argue with the resistance. You don't try to reason with it. You simply acknowledge it's there, and then you sit down anyway. This technique is called persistent sitting, and it's exactly what it sounds like. When your mind is throwing a full-on tantrum, I'm too tired, I'm too busy, this is pointless, your only job is to keep your body still and just observe the tantrum. You don't engage. By refusing to react, you literally starve that old habit of its energy. You're teaching your mind in no uncertain terms that your commitment is now in charge. So, what's the long-term payoff for all this sitting and persistence? What's the end game? Well, the ultimate goal is to slowly but surely transform that reactive default mind into a stable, wise, and discerning mind. Let's just compare these two. The default mind is always looking outward for its next hit of happiness or its next thing to blame. It's impulsive and reactive. But the discerning mind, the one you build through this practice, it has the wisdom to pause. It looks inward for stability. It goes from being a victim of its own moods to becoming the master of its inner world, able to create peace no matter what's going on outside. And this new discerning mind, it isn't a gift. It doesn't just show up. It has to be built. And it's constructed on these 4 integrated pillars. You have to listen and learn the wisdom. You have to contemplate how it actually applies to your life. You have to put it into practice every day. And then you have to analyze the changes in your own behavior. That's how theory turns into real lived experience. So, we'll leave you with this final question to really think about because it summarizes this entire journey. Every time you feel that inner tug of war between what you've decided to do and what your old habits are screaming at you to do, a choice is being made. And the whole point of this framework is to give you the tools to make sure that more and more often your conscious commitment is the one calling the shots.